Straight ahead on CCX News, a power shift and a new team of leaders at the state capitol. These leaders plucked from the Northwest Metro. We sit down with the newly appointed House Speaker. Plus, a vote that impacts the city of Robbinsdale's drinking water. And later, it really does look like winter, and the Three Rivers Park District is trying to keep it that way. CCX News starts right now.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us. The new DFL majority at the state legislature has selected its leadership team, and two lawmakers from the northwest suburbs will play prominent roles. DFL lawmakers picked Ryan Winkler of Golden Valley to be the House Majority Leader, and Representative Melissa Hortman of Brooklyn Park was selected to be the new House Speaker. Delane Cleveland joins us now with more. Delane?
Yeah, Shannon, Tuesday night was a big night for Democrats in Minnesota. The DFL needed 11 seats to gain the majority in the state house, and they wound up flipping 18 seats. I spoke to the new House Speaker today about why the DFL did so well.
Hard work. The harder you work, the luckier you get. We set out to flip the House, and in order to flip the House, we knew we would have to work very hard from the word go. So as soon as we got the results from the 2016 election, we formed our leadership team. We started recruiting really excellent candidates right away. We had 10 leaders working on recruitment.
Representative Hortman says the DFL recruited great candidates who then did the hard work of talking to voters and listening to their concerns. But now that the Democrats control the House and the governor's office, Hortman says there is unfinished business, such as working on tax conformity, addressing the opioid epidemic, and caring for seniors who have dealt with abuse and neglect. However, Minnesota is now the only state in the nation with a divided legislature. Yet Hortman sounds optimistic about the ability to work with Republican Senate Majority Leader Paul Gazelka.
What I anticipate is that Senator Gazelka is very practical and pragmatic. He is not a guy who seeks out conflict for the sake of conflict. So I really think that he and I will be able to separate those issues where we don't have to have a titanic partisan struggle.
Meanwhile, in the next few months, the DFL leadership plans to create a new committee structure, appoint leaders to those committees, and then draft their agenda for the upcoming session once the state budget forecast comes out at the end of November. The legislative session begins on January 8th. Shannon?
Thank you, Delane. Just 24 hours after Brooklyn Park police made a plea for help to find a child missing for months, police say they have now located the little girl. 3-year-old Trirecia Chamberlain was turned into police Thursday night by a friend of the girl's father. Police arrested the father earlier this week. Authorities believe he abducted the child last May but refused to tell anyone of the girl's whereabouts. The father, Trimel Chamberlain, was determined to be unfit to care for children. He faces 2 felony counts. Police say the child appears to be healthy and unharmed. Now to a big decision in Robbinsdale, one that affects the city's drinking water. The Robbinsdale City Council has decided to move forward with plans for a new water treatment plant. The City Council had considered 3 options to supply water. One would be to borrow water from Minneapolis. Another would be to fix existing infrastructure. The third option is building a new water treatment plant, which is actually the least expensive option, but it's at a cost of $16 million.
I, for one, think that, our job up here is to, make sure that we've considered these things, and I think that there's no question that the alternative here that's being recommended to build a centralized water treatment plant to replace the one that's 60 years old is the prudent option. It provides us with hopefully 60+ years of a water plant that is not that's going to work well.
One unanswered question is that the city will also need to build a new, much larger water tower. That issue the city plans to address with residents in the future. As the snow flies Friday, Plymouth is letting people know about a change to its snow emergency policy. That policy calls for cars parked on the street to be towed when a snow emergency is declared, so the city can plow all of the streets curb to curb. Until now, a snow emergency would only be declared if snow accumulated to a depth of 2.5 inches. Under the new guidelines, that number drops to 2 inches.
We'll probably be out with a full city plow probably 2 or 3 more times on average, just with that half-inch adjustment.
The city also changed some routes to reduce the time to plow the entire city by an hour, hired new positions, and they brought in these front-end loaders. They are specially equipped to clear cul-de-sacs better than they could in the past. Officials say these changes will lead to a better driving experience this winter. And of course, we hope so. Veterans Day is this Sunday. The Osseo Maple Grove American Legion celebrated the event by looking at the past, as this Veterans Day is the 100th anniversary of the official end of World War I. Then they look to the future. The American Legion and its auxiliaries sends local students to Boys State and Girls State, and the students came back to address the crowd.
This is kind of a treat for them to come in and tell us how their activities went when they attended Boys and Girls State.
It is a centennial year for the American Legion too. They celebrated the 100th convention in Minneapolis last summer. Still ahead, an enchanting theater classic makes its way to the stage at Wayzata High School. Plus, the Champlin Park volleyball team takes another step toward a championship. We'll have their semifinal highlights. But first, remaining icy and cold this weekend, we may see the sun on Sunday. Students in Maple Grove could not have been more excited to be talking about bugs on Thursday night. Yep, you heard that right. Students have been studying pollinators and other insects this year, and they showed off their knowledge at the STEM in Action Fair. From butterflies to honeybees to Madagascar hissing cockroaches, this unit of study was a way to challenge students to be collaborative and creative thinkers.
This year, Weaver Lake was named a certified national magnet school, and so all of these integrated projects are based on our mission to serve a diverse student population with an innovative curriculum that involves hands-on, nature-oriented projects.
That certified national magnet school was a pretty big deal too. Weaver Lake was among 21 schools located in 12 states to get that designation. Wayzata High School's fall musical first opened on Broadway back in 1991. It takes place across the pond in a somewhat hidden garden. You know what it is? Neil Persley reveals the mystery in today's Weekend Showcase.
The Secret Garden is a play which first appeared on Broadway in 1991, based on a 1911 novel set in 1906, Yorkshire, England.
The main story follows Mary Lennox, who is a 10-year-old girl who in the opening scene, which is presented in the musical as kind of a dream sequence, or maybe more of a nightmare sequence, loses everybody that she knows in 1906 colonialized India to cholera.
Mary is sent from India to Yorkshire to live with her uncle, who himself is grieving the loss of his wife, Mary's Aunt Lily.
I like how she has this toughness in her. She's not like the usual like little girly girl who's like interested in all the like jewelry or dresses, all that. But she has this toughness where she's interested in growing a garden that grows from the dead, and it sprouts into this whole new world.
Wayzata is having 2 actors alternate in performances playing Mary. KATY MANDERFELD also plays Mary.
Our directors actually posted some resources for us about the time period and what was going on about cholera and things like that, just so that we can kind of understand what's going on in these characters' lives, which ended up being really, really helpful.
As tragic as the beginning of the story is, and as hard at the circumstances for the 2 main characters at the beginning, I think it's a story of hope and of how we move past those things that we lose. And I'd say if it has a message about that, it's really about the importance of human connection.
For Weekend Showcase from Wayzata High in Plymouth, Neil Persley, CCX News.
Secret Garden runs now through next Saturday at Wayzata High. For dates and showtimes, go to WHStheater.com, and we will also have a link on our website, ccxmedia.org. Still ahead, think it looks like winter by now? Wait until you see the place we'll take you to later in the show. But first, the Osseo Park Center girls hockey team gets set for this season with an updated home rink. John Jacobson is in next.
Champlin Park's volleyball team spent much of the season ranked #1 in the state in Class 3A. Friday morning, they met a Lakeville South team that carried a 28-4 record into the match. The Rebels 30-2 coming into this semifinal matchup. Set 1, the Cougars' Jasmine Whiteman, quick set, Nicole Bennett the kill. Lakeville South leads 12-10. Later, Elena Molden passes to Whiteman, who sets the ball outside to Jazz Mulvihill. She records one of her match-high 21 kills, and the Cougars win the first set, 27-25. Champlin Park comes back in set 2. Izzy Ashburn to Lauren Clark, who pounds away. That's one of her 11 kills. Rebels lead 13-7. Jordan Stelp has had a solid match for CP. She finishes with 12 kills and just one hitting error. Champlin Park wins 25-21 to tie the match at 1. Later, in the third set, off a south serve, it's Hannah Praske with a nice tip over the block. Rebels win 25-18. They go ahead 2-1. Champlin Park continues their momentum into set 4. Ashburn sets to Emma Schmidt. She led the Rebels this day with 16 kills. And Stelpes finishes the day with a kill on match point. Champlin Park moves into Saturday's state 3A championship match with a 4-set win over Lakeville South.
They just competed. You know, maybe we weren't as clean in certain areas as you know, serve receive maybe or whatever else, but you know, they battled. I thought our blocking was pretty good for the most part. We were you know, they got around sometimes, but that's always going to happen. But we had some nice stuff blocks and we were slowing balls down. And then just offensively, we were making good decisions. You know, there's a few balls we got away from us, but if we told them something was open, we'd go for it. And you know, they just stuck to the game plan for the most part and believed in each other.
Well, I mean, everything starts with our defense and our backcourt, and it doesn't get enough recognition. Like KATY, our libero, has been doing a great job. And then it obviously leads up to our hitters, which people notice. And there's so many options, and we all trust each other. And I just trust every one of my hitters to make the right decision and the right choice in the moment.
Champlin Park and Egan will play for the 3A title for the second time in 3 seasons, Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock at XL Energy Center in St. Paul. It may be fitting with the arrival of some snow. Thursday marked the first night available for games for girls hockey teams across Minnesota. Armstrong Cooper hosted Rogers. First period of this one, the shot from the point, it's tipped in front. Wings goalie Nicole Harnett, though, makes the save and stops the rebound chance. It's scoreless through 1, but early in the second, AC gets a power play goal. Caitlin Quinn's shot deflects off a Rogers stick and in for a 1-0 lead. Harnett continues to play well. Nice kick save here. Then she denies Marie Reimer with a poke check, secures the Wings lead through 2 periods. But in the third, Reimer sets up Sammy Sherling, and she scores the equalizer for the Royals. A short time later, Sherling returns the favor, laying the puck off Reimer, and she buries the low shot. Rogers adds an empty netter as well, and the Royals win it 3-1. Armstrong Cooper's first-round playoff opponent last season was Osseo Park Center. As Jay Wilcox reports, OPC is hoping to move up in the standings this season.
They've settled into one home rink. The newly renovated Dick Bra Arena in Osseo is full-time home to Osseo Park Center girls hockey now, after they'd shuttled between the Osseo and Brooklyn Park arenas.
I grew up going to this rink with Omega, and so I'm excited to be back here and not have to switch between rinks or go everywhere. And it's nice to be in one location with the boys so people don't ask, like, why you're at the Brooklyn Park rink. So, because I've gotten that before, so it'll be nice to just be at a home rink.
I go to Osseo, so that's really big. It's really exciting coming back home, and the rinks, like the boys program and the rink attendants, have really welcomed us.
They love being in Osseo Arena, also known as the best ice in the state. It's fast, it's cold. You know, the players love it because we're always moving in here, and it's the best ice around.
After a couple of weeks of practice and some tough scrimmages in Duluth, there's a good feeling overall about this year's squad. It's a very young team, but they're getting after it.
We're a young team so far. We had a scrimmage fest this past weekend, and it looks pretty well. The young girls really stepped up, so we're pretty optimistic.
First couple weeks have been great. Went up to Duluth last weekend, competed really well against some top-level teams. Girls competing every single practice, giving it their 100%. What we ask them every single time they're on the ice.
Osseo Park Center hasn't had a lot of success in recent years. They won 6 games last season. They're aiming to improve and even have a specific win total in mind.
Like our program for the past 9 years, we haven't got past 7 games. So in our locker room, we actually have a 7 taped onto our wall. Every time before practices and games, we'll hit that. And we're hoping this year to surpass that and shoot past that and hopefully get a new number.
The girls in the Osseo Park Center program are set to chase that goal. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
OPC opens the season Friday night against Henry Sibley. Shannon's back with more in a moment.
The Lee Carlson Center helps provide affordable mental health services in a number of ways, including partnering with the Osseo School District. Thursday night, the nonprofit celebrated with a gala at Bunker Hills Golf Club. The theme was lighting the way for children and families, and the master of ceremonies was our very own Meredith Hackler. Proceeds from the event helped offset the cost of mental health care to uninsured or underinsured families. And finally, from flurries to a full-on winter wonderland at Elm Creek Park Reserve. The Three Rivers Park District hopes to have the cross-country ski trails open there as early as next week. And that would be the park's earliest ski trail opening ever. Photojournalist Dustin Scholl takes us there.
It's kind of flurries out there, and then you come into the park and it's full-on winter in here. So. You know, we just started blowing snow 2 days ago, and we're already all white out here. We got inches accumulating. Amazing early jump. We're potentially going to open the earliest that we've ever opened right now. Biggest thing for us is making sure that we have a good, solid foundation so that we can get some of our heavy equipment out here. We got 20 maintenance guys just busting their butt trying to get this place going. It's crazy how dependent we are on Mother Nature, and as soon as she allows, we really go into this just full action, full swing. The phone is ringing off the hook. People really want to get out. Obviously, we're fighting at the bit to try to get open just as everybody else wants us to get open. Might be maybe another week or so. It really depends on the weather. It's a mix of how cold it can stay for us, along with the wind direction and also the humidity in the air. If it's too moist in the air, then we're not going to be able to blow the snow like we want to. We know that the cross-country skiers want to get out here early, really focusing on that, and then Bunny Hill's next, and then we'll try to have the terrain park open as soon as we can also. Stay tuned, you know, social media and the website, we'll try to keep you as updated as possible. It's going to be a fun time.
Doesn't look like November out there. Three Rivers is also hiring for the winter season. It's in need of ski instructors and attendants for the tubing hill. And before we go, we would like to leave you with a few pictures of last night's CCX Create Gala, where all of the volunteers are superheroes. Check out these amazing numbers. Around 250 volunteers produce more than 756 hours of local programming. That's producing 80 shows a month for CCX Create. So congratulations, CCX Create, and thank you for all of your hard work. For everyone else, thanks for watching and have a good weekend.